My name is Te Grace. I'm a T.P.C Mindset Image Coach and also T.P.C Breakthrough Coach. It is vital, my friend, that you realize where it all begins and how your life's journey, the person that you're going to become, what you're going to achieve, firstly begins in your mind. You have the ability to perceive mental images and mental pictures. So everything firstly begins in your mind. Secondly, in the form of mental imagery, because we think in mental images. I say these three letters KFC. What image comes to your mind, or what images come to your mind? Could be the color red, a gentleman dressed in white, or else most certainly chicken, right? Because we think in we're thinking pictures and mental images. So when you realize that, now the next step is to actualize mindset conditioning tools, the T.P.C mindset conditioning tools, because the key is to become the control center of your mind. And you'll find that there are so many people who don't know this information and who have negative, unproductive thoughts and mental images running on autopilot that they are becoming victim of. So let me give you a quick example in regards to mental imagery. If you are going to see a movie, you're sitting in a theater, you're watching that movie, you're watching these images moving on a screen, and those images aided with audio at the movie are going to trigger emotions within you. You're going to feel a certain way simply because you're watching a movie, images moving on a screen. And that same aspect is what happens within your mind. When you are perceiving mental images, those mental images in your mind, though, are more, I personally think, are more real than that external movie that you're watching. And so when you realize it's all mental imagery, that's actually you as awareness, as the mind, as you're perceiving, is really affecting the way you feel. Okay? And that's why a lot of people don't realize this at all. If they realize that this really is the lump sum of their life's journey, what they're going to become, what they're going to achieve, is simply the mental images processing in their mind. If they realize that, and then the next step will now to implement necessary mindset cognitive tools to become the control center of their minds. And this is why T.P.C has been designed. Our thought process conditioning is to help people become the control center of their mind. Okay, so your brain and your mind are very different. The brain is in the physical realm. It's made out of 3 pounds of gooey stuff, billions of neurons with synaptic connections. And a neuron simply is a specialized cell that sends information throughout your brain. But your brain really is more the receiving station of mental images that are perceived in your mind. Okay, so thought process conditioning is a very, very effective cognitive program. Will teach you how to identify thoughts and mental images. You'll also understand the function of how thoughts and mental images, pop into your mind, begin to process, become your perception, and are projected from you and become produced. The word process means a series of actions taken in order to come to a particular end. That's the ultimate goal of a mental image, to come to a particular end. So once those mental images pop into your mind, and the principle of neuroscience is that thoughts and mental images that sync in the mind, link in the mind, actually fire in the mind. And so an image that begins to pop into your mind processes in your mind. And once that image processes in your mind, eventually becomes your perception. The perception really, or perception, some would say, is your reality, or form of what you deem as reality. But perception really is that image processed and now that's currently perceived by your mind. In other words, I can see that image, my mind is perceiving it, and eventually from that perception, because imagery is actually energy that morphs into chemicals that actually affect your biology and also your physiology, eventually the image is projected in the form of emotions. You feel it, and then eventually, because of that feeling, determines your behavior. Then you're going to take action, and then eventually that image becomes produced. So it's phenomenal when you know all this stuff, right? And which you will, because, you're in the right place right now. And so TPC, thought process conditioning, is about conditioning. You must condition your mind. If not, your mind will condition you. Either you're conditioning your mind or your mind is conditioning you. One of the meanings of the word conditioning is a series of actions. The meaning of the word conditioning is training an animal or a human to behave a certain way. And that's what your mind wants to do. It actually wants for you to behave a certain way. Can you imagine living your life all based on images that pop into your mind? No. And this is, I find, fascinating when people realize it's simply becoming the observer of, and then having the ability to determine. This is TPC 2D, become the alarm system of your mind. And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people right now are falling victim to depression, anxiety, a lot of trauma, not realizing that it's simply an image that is becoming the movie in the mind. And because of that, you're going to feel the effects of those images. And I explained, you going to a movie, it's the same thing on the internal. All happiness, gladness, everything is on the internal, in the form of mental images being perceived and projected in your mind. I look forward to catching up with you as your TPC Mindset Image Coach. Speak to you soon. Take care.